Need you right here in my arms, baby, I'm yearning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday. So 5 o'clock sharp, it is time for Speak Your Soul. I'm your host, Shantae. This is episode 15. I want to welcome you guys once again to another amazing week of Speak Your Soul. Thank you all for tuning in as you have for the last couple of weeks. Once again, we're trying out something new, going live at 5 o'clock, and then you can also stream this afterwards on Anchor, Spotify. You can check me out on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast after the show. So for those of you that are not able to tune in to Speak Your Soul, you can always check out and listen to the episodes prior to or after the shows have been recorded here on Facebook Live. So with that being said, once again, welcome to episode 15. We are really hitting some milestones here. I was super excited when we got to episode 10. Now we're at episode 15, and we're just going to keep this train moving. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Kenneth. Hey, everyone for this jumping in the room right now. So I want to start off this week's episode of Speak Your Soul, just really touching base on something that's very important right now. Oh, first of all, before I go any further, you see it, check it, the Speak Your Soul shirt. It is official. We do have merch. So want to give a big shout out to Enticing Custom Designs. Cynthia Lott, if she's on here, please by all means go ahead and drop in the chat about your amazing shirts that you do. She can pretty much make anything, y'all. So Enticing Custom Designs, Cynthia Lott. So please check her out. But yes, this is the official Speak Your Soul shirt. So if you guys want one, please let me know and I'll let her know. So without further ado, just talking about a lot has gone on, a lot continues to happen. And the one thing I've preached week after week is just making sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves, that you guys are practicing self-care, self-love. Frey, shout out to you if you're here on live, had an amazing post that you made this morning, which was so transparent and was so honest. Hey, there are people out there that are not okay, that are still dealing and reeling over everything that's going on right now at this present time. There are people that are, trying to put on the front for their families, trying to put on the front for their friends, that they're doing okay, that everything's all right. And it's just, we're not okay. So I kind of got caught in that web, and you know me, for everyone that knows on Speak Your Soul, this is me. This is my opportunity to literally come on here and speak what I know to be true. And I got caught in that same web this week, going along, smiling, acting as though everything was okay, and everything wasn't okay. So the biggest thing for you guys is make sure that you're checking on your friends, you're checking on your family. It's very important right now that you guys are staying in contact with people, because you just never know. Tomorrow's not promised. We don't know, what's going to happen down the road. We don't know, who's going to do what, or, what the next wave of this whole COVID-19 thing is. So making sure that you guys are checking on your friends, checking on your family, because some of us are really trying to kind of put on the front and act as though they're absorbing all this information and everything is going okay, when they're not. They're just absolutely not okay. And that's okay, right? To not be okay. So I wanted to come on here and just make sure that I put that disclaimer out there, that I just check on you guys. If anybody wants to jump on the live and just say, hey, and be real transparent, we can talk about it. But I just wanted to, for those people that really don't want to speak up or really don't want to say anything about it because they don't want people to know that they're going through something, it is okay to not be okay right now. That's just bottom line. That's all it is to it. And like I said, you don't have to speak up, but eventually I hope that you do talk to somebody so that you can, get that out you, and express, what's really going on with you. So we try to keep it light. We try to keep it fun on Speak Your Soul because everything else has been so traumatic. So one of the things that I want to talk about is two things. One is I was posed a question, or I saw this very interesting question that I definitely wanted to pose, and I put that out there for people that wanted to respond back. And it says, if you could identify yourself as three musicians, who would it be? Now, I found that to be quite an interesting question because I love talking about music and discussing music here on Speak Your Soul. Like that's a big one for me. So, but if you could be any three musicians, and that they represent who you are. So of course, I had to jump into it. So the three musicians I picked were Erykah Badu, Sade, and A Tribe Called Quest. Now everybody got real crazy when I said A Tribe Called Quest, but I said, you know what? Let me break this down for you so it can forever and consistently be broke. So when I say Erykah Badu is somebody that I deem as a spiritual being, a creative being. And so when I think about her spirit and who she is as an artist, that's totally me. So, she said, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff. And so that's me all the way. So Erykah Badu for one. Number two, I would probably say, I said Sade because there's just a smooth, sensual, person when it comes to Sade. She's sweet. There's something kind of angelic about her. And so that's one of the reasons why I chose Sade. And then A Tribe Called Quest because, they're legends. They're very diverse. Their music has been revolutionary. And they've just been awesome since the very beginning. So if I could describe myself in three musicians, like who is Shantae at the end of the day, I would describe myself with those three musicians. I am a bit of Erykah Badu mixed with Sade, mixed in with A Tribe Called Quest. And so that's just my thought process on it. So if anybody out there, I'm going to put that question out there. If you could name yourself, if you could describe yourself in three musicians, I've had some really interesting answers. I've heard somebody say that they're a mix of Johnny Gill with some Tank. So I've seen quite a few interesting combinations. Somebody said they were Tony Braxton mixed with Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. That's an interesting combination in itself, and I'm curious to find out why they picked those particular artists. But I guess I'll put that out there as a serious question, maybe for just a sidebar, kind of just to answer in your leisure. But if you could choose three musicians to describe who you are, who would those three musicians be? And that says a lot about who you are as a person. So I definitely recommend that you kind of do these little tests to kind of just really see who you really believe, who you identify with. And when I say right now, music more than anything has been a lifesaver during this time. I've gotten a chance to listen to Tiana Taylor's new album. I've been listening to music kind of here and there, just kind of getting bits and pieces. And so I've really kind of self-discovered and discovered a lot of new artists during this downtime because I'm not going out there. Just so many artists that I've discovered during this downtime. So definitely opportunities to find a lot of artists that really are not in the mainstream. I had a conversation about Solange. Shout out to her. It's her birthday, I believe, today. But her album was literally an amazing album that really went under the radar lock. No one really kind of played it, but it just got it caught a wave, and all of a sudden everyone wanted to listen to it. So it's, you just never know what artists are out there. I like Davidson, I like Kirby. There are so many different artists out there, and I want to thank Brandon Stewart, if he's watching right now, for hipping me to Kirby. They're an amazing she's an amazing artist. So much music out there, so much diversity. Once again, that's something that we definitely highlight on Speak Your Soul. We definitely want to make sure that we give kudos to good music out there that we're listening to. There's so many things coming in the wake. Hey, what's up, Fred? How you doing? So much good music out there, and just plenty of time for you to just engage. So the next thing I want to talk about is, as we're talking about, we're not okay right now. I'm not okay because right now Zeta Phi Beta is celebrating their 100th centennial in DC. This would have been the week, and because of COVID-19, a lot of my sorors out there have not been able to travel or do anything or celebrate as they should. So just want to give a big shout out to all my sorors out there, the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I feel your pain. Right now we should be basking in DC, doing a bunch of different activities, staying at the host hotel, just really having fun and basking in this 100th this centennial. And so for all you frat out there, I posted something, and frat couldn't have said it any best. If you have a soror, if you know a soror, please do something nice for them, because right now it's like I said, in the spirit of I'm not okay. This was a big celebration that we were supposed to be having this at this time that we're not going to have. So definitely make sure that you, thank you, make sure that you check in on your sorors and make sure that they're not only just okay, but if you feel inclined, do something nice for a soror, because like I said, this is a big celebration that we're missing out on. And I definitely believe at this time that you reaching out and just saying some kind words, or just even letting someone know that you care right now, goes a long way. So with that being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. So as per every week, I put a poll out there. And so this one's a little bit tricky, and I want to start by putting the disclaimer that I put on my actual post, because a lot of things transpired with the last Speak Your Soul Wants to Know post. And so many people started responding to this post that I put up, and it started to kind of get a little unwound a little bit. But I had to put a disclaimer because people started sharing it all over Facebook. And I don't mind when people share anything that I post in regards to topics that we're discussing on Speak Your Soul. But the one thing that I ask is that you don't take it to use it to try to exploit, or try to, put your ideas onto other people, or just to simply say, this is how I feel, but you don't encourage any type of dialogue. Everything that I do, as far as under the name of Speak Your Soul, it's all to encourage dialogue between men and women. I totally believe in having an adult conversation. And so I encourage, any adult, any man or female, to come on to my page and be able to speak their opinions openly, freely, without being judged. You may have a question, you may have a concern, but we talk it out. That's the beauty about this podcast and the materials or the conversations that we have. Sometimes they get super intense. Sometimes a debate starts to happen, a kind of a heated debate, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's just a conversation. It's just a topic. It's nothing to take too serious. This is all for entertainment. And so I felt like some people were taking this a bit far, or people were taking that particular question and just kind of twisting it and turning it into their own favor, to be able just to make a blanket statement and not really encourage dialogue. The one thing I'm always going to say about any topic that I do, or anything that I do on Speak Your Soul, And one of the reasons why I decided to start doing this live is that I encourage dialogue between men and women and adults, or between women or men, however you want to, whatever the topic is or wherever it's directed to. But don't take a topic that we discuss on Speak Your Soul and start to kind of make it your own, and really for the purpose intended, you kind of turn it into something completely different than what the actual meaning was. So I had to put that, literally, I had to go on my page and actually put that disclaimer out, because I felt like people were taking that post out of context, and a lot of people were starting to get their, feathers ruffled by a post that I put out there, which my only intention was to create a dialogue or to get a conversation started for this show today. And so God bless you, everyone that shared it. The comments got completely just took off. It started out real slow, and then it just got completely carried away. But I do love the conversations that we do get a chance to have on Facebook, and I'm going to start having this type of conversations on Twitch and Instagram and stuff like that as Speak Your Soul starts to expand out a little bit and start reaching more people. I am all for adult conversations that actually lead to an understanding at the end of the day. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the question, and I have to even go on and look at it myself to make sure that I get it completely right. But the question that I asked on yesterday, and let me get this up here for you guys. So the question that I asked yesterday was, true or false? Most women are trying to be the leader. That's why they can't find a man. I'm going to read that to you again. True or false? Most women are trying to be the leader. That's why they can't find a man. And so there was a lot of eye rolling. There was a lot of people that just literally just had nothing, but one word answers, true. And so I want to break this down a little bit, because like I said, the intention of me putting this post out kind of gave people a little bit of a different tone of what I was trying to go with this one. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's break this particular topic down. So true or false, most women are trying to be the leader. That's why they can't find a man. So I'm old school. And so I want to thank Andrea for getting on there, and the women that got on there and just spoke their honesty and spoke their truth. So in this particular instance, Andrea said that I'm one of those women that doesn't mind, that wants to be led by a man. And I'm in total agreement with her. As a matter of fact, I put on that post, I am all for it. So I want people to get the thought process out of their head that all women or most women or all women are put into that same category, that we're all just trying to be leaders. We're all trying to bulldoze over a guy. We're super independent and we don't need a man, and that's why we can't find a man. So first of all, just the statement itself and the way it was written is absolutely false. Not all women, not even most women, feel that same way, that, oh, I want to be the leader. I want to be the head of the household. I'm so independent that this is why I can't find a man. So that topic, once again, just like I said, some different strokes for different folks. And I had to break this down and to put these different disclaimers out there, because I need people to not have these stereotypes and put women or men into these certain boxes. So if you really are trying to seek to understand, this is the time to kind of have these conversations and talk about it. So women are too busy trying to be leaders. That's why we can't find a man. Like I said, you can't speak for all women. You can't even speak for most women. So this statement is completely false in my thought process. But we had some men that said that this statement is true. Here's my thing for guys that believe that this statement is true. If this statement is true, you have to put some type of context around this. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I believe women are too busy trying to be leaders in a relationship. That's why they can't find a man. Give me the context. Give me something in addition to that proves your theory, your thought process. You can't just say, oh, yeah. So did this happen in your life in particular? Do you have an example that you can share that says, okay, this happened to me, or this relationship where the woman was too busy trying to lead and therefore, it didn't work out. So if you're going to have a thought process and you're going to say true that, yes, I believe that all women are trying to be leaders and that's why they can't find a man, please make sure that you have something to add. Don't just say true and not have any context or anything to back that up with, because at that point, to me, it just looks like something happened in a relationship prior that now has kind of left kind of a stain or just kind of rubbed you the wrong way. And now your thought process is to immediately say, okay, yeah, that's true. Women are too busy trying to be leaders. So that's why they can't effectively, or that's why they can't find a man. So for all you guys that said true, like I said, I'm not knocking you guys having your opinion. Like I said, it was a grown-up conversation. That's what we do at Speak Your Soul. We have grown-up conversations, men and women conversing. But I would like for you guys to please have some context with your conversation so that we can really have a dialogue and we can get an understanding on why you believe that statement to be true. Now, let's talk about some of the men that jumped in and said something to say about this topic as well. So men had a very different kind of spin. There were some people that believe that, yes, women are too busy trying to be leaders and therefore they can't find a man. But I think my favorite statement was from Rel, I believe that's his name, Relle, who stated, well, as soon as a man is ready to lead effectively, then a woman will follow. And that one got quite a few responses. Like, listen, for those women out there that are strong, that are leaders, you must understand. For some women, it's just embedded in our spirit. Some women are just born to lead. Just hands down. It's just embedded in who they are. Some women are taught to lead. That's something just over time, just something that they've been taught to be leaders. But you can't really knock a woman for having the ability to be a leader and wanting to be that or to demonstrate that in a relationship. So a woman is very adaptable. We are going to, in situations where if no one steps up and says, hey, it's time for me to lead, then you're going to have the woman step up and say, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. I'll take the reins on this one. I'll be a leader. And then you'll start to see that man kind of defer. But you must understand, you can't knock a woman for wanting to be a leader if that's something that's in her or that's something that she was taught. That's something that should be celebrated. That's something that shouldn't be a hindrance or something that downgrades her as a person because she has the ability to lead. This is a better question for me. And I want to ask you guys out there, and whoever's listening on the live, guys, if you have a woman that has a strong personality and that has the ability to lead, what is wrong with her or you guys kind of sharing in a leadership role? I'm not saying one person over the other. I'm just saying in certain matters, a give and take. She leads in certain issues or certain situations where she's more stronger at, and then you lead in certain situations where you're stronger at. Somebody proposed that very same thing on yesterday's poll when I put this question out there. Hey, this should be a balance. You should be able to, hey, what's up, everybody? So we're talking about, for everybody that's just jumped in on the live, today's topic is true or false. women are too busy trying to be leaders, therefore they can't find a man. And so right out the bat, I don't believe that to be true. I believe that if you have a woman and she is a leader, that you're winning. That's a plus in a relationship. But some people deem that as emasculating, or they're trying to take over a man's role, or they're too independent. There's so many different labels they could put on women that have a strong leadership quality. And like I said, this is something that is either taught to them or is something that's just embedded in them. They have the ability to lead, or they want to lead. Now, here's even a twist to that particular statement. There are also women that have had to take leadership roles because they've been in relationships where they had to be the leader because the man in their life or the man in the relationship refused to take the leadership role. So if you don't have anyone that's willing to lead you, and you have to keep stepping up and being a leader, well, then you get accustomed to having to step up and take the leadership role. That's also a big thing with it. So there's so many different variables on why women take that leadership role, or gets put into, she's super independent, she's, she doesn't need anybody. But to say that because she's a leader, that's the reason why she can't find a man, I totally don't agree in that statement. There are women that want to be led by a man in a relationship that's quote unquote, you call it old school. I guess I can say I'm old school, but I believe in that too. A man leads that relationship. He initially sets the tone of what's going to happen in their relationship. So guess what? If he doesn't want to lead, and he lets that female pass him up and starts taking the leadership role, then the roles are going to get reversed, and she's going to be deemed as the leader of this relationship. And so, typically that's when the whole, oh, she's this, she's that. But I need you to understand there's also two different distinctions. There's a leader and there's also a boss. That we also must distinguish the difference between those two. A woman can be a leader, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a positive thing. Of course, if I was a man, I would definitely want a woman that has the ability to lead. Like, that's a plus. That's a positive. I don't see the negative in that. I don't see that being a hindrance in a relationship. But like I said, if I'm wrong, by all means, men, jump on the live, speak up for you, or if you got an opinion about it, definitely go ahead and chime in. But as far as a boss, and then you talking about a leader, those are two different things. No, I don't want somebody that thinks that they're my boss in a relationship and is dictating to me and being demeaning or emasculating to me. That's something totally different. And I think we as men and females need to understand that there's a difference. Roles that are played in relationships are very important. But as far as a woman being a leader, I don't see that being a negative. And so for people to use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, girl, that's why you can't get no man, you too busy trying to lead. Well, no, there are times where it calls for a woman to take the lead and be that. So people say I have a real strong leadership personality, but it may come off like that. But trust me, I want that man to go ahead and take the lead and to lead me, take me by the hand and lead me through whatever. I'm not the person. I can do this. But as far as in relationships, no, I don't want to take the lead. And so, but what's happened in full transparency, what has happened? I can be the first one to admit in my previous relationships, once that man started to defer and he didn't want to take the leadership role, I just went ahead and just jumped right on in. But what happens is they start to feel as though you're above them, as though you have more clout than them. You have more, you have more together than they do. And so they kind of just bow out gracefully. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. If you know that you can't lead this woman because she's that strong, then so be it. But once again, I need us to understand that it's not a hindrance on that woman because she can lead and because she has been a leader. And so if I'm a manager on my job and every day I have to go to work and I have to lead a team of, so many people every day, I mean, that's either in me or there's something that's been taught for me for that ability. So once again, if it's already in me, it shouldn't be a hindrance, and it shouldn't be something that deters a man from me, from wanting to look at me. If anything, that should be a plus. When you see me out here leading by example, when you see me out here getting it, taking care of business, taking care of my money and my finances, you should be like, that's the woman for me. I want her. But a lot of guys don't see it like that. And so there's a lot of kind of miscommunication and just a lot of just kind of bashing that goes along with it. And I just want to really kind of set the tone in regards to these type of conversations and what happens when we have these type of conversations. I want us to be able to honestly speak our own opinions and be able to have a complete conversation. I don't want us to get into a mode to where we can't be honest with each other. We can't be honest with ourselves. And so that's a big one for me. I mean, some of the statements, and now I'll get into some of the actual things that were said, because like I said, this thing got kind of heated. Some of the opinions that were made, and I'm not going to put anybody out there. I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I just want to read some of these because they're interesting to me. And I like to kind of discuss them. Some of them kill it with some of these statements, and some of them just kind of leave you scratching your head like, okay. So we have, like I said, thank you, Andrea, for saying, I disagree. I would love for a man to lead me. A lot of women feel that way. They don't feel like, that they have to always be in control and always be in the lead. They want a man to be able to lead them successfully. So kudos for that. Then I have my Sarah that asked, does a man not want a woman that can lead? And that's an interesting question in itself. It's like, what are guys out there really looking for when it comes to a woman? Like, what is your ideal woman supposed to be like? Is it just looks? Is it just personality? But for me, check an independent woman that knows how to lead, that has a mind of her own, that can speak her truths and her values. That's a big one for me. But once again, that's just me. And so somebody said nothing wrong with a woman that can lead. And so we had someone say, this is an interesting comment. So someone said, false. I think they try to lead because no one led them or their leaders were trash. And once again, like I said, this is coming from a guy. So to know that a guy truly believes that if a woman has to lead or is leading, it's because whoever was in their relationship with her did not have the ability to lead or did not want to lead, or their leadership was, like you said, trash. So that's somebody that's being honest with what's going on. So once again, for those of you that are tuning in, today's topic is true or false. Women, the women that are trying to be leaders cannot find a man. More specifically, most women are trying to be the leader. That's why they can't find a man. And so, like I said, my answer to this particular question is false. I don't believe that that's every woman feels that way. I don't even believe that most women feel that way. So I think that there's a very tiny percentage of women that feel like, oh, I'm a leader, I have to lead everything, and that's why I can't find anybody to be with. I truly believe that that's a small percentage, that most men love and adore and are side by side with a woman that has the ability to lead. Once again, we're talking about the difference between a boss, somebody that's bossy, and someone that's a leader. Remember, those are two different things. If you had someone in your life that was bossy, a woman that was bossy, that was dictating to you, that was being rude to you, that's something totally different. No, you can't, I wouldn't stand for that either. So you have to understand the difference between the two. It's not about leading, it's about do what you have to do as an independent and being able to bridge the lifestyles into a cohesive relationship. Exactly. And that's what I was saying. To me, it's all about a balance. We should be able to balance each other out in a relationship. So we can be two different individuals, but our lifestyles, they should come together, they should merge, but we should be able to make decisions together. And if she can do something a little bit better, or if you think she should take the lead on this one, it should be something that should be, that's a conversation that can be had between the two of them. Hey, Crystal. I'm wearing it. Got the shirt on. Kudos once again to Enticing Custom Designs, Crystal Lot. There you go. I'm sorry, I said Cynthia earlier. Oh my God. Crystal Lot. Enticing Custom Designs. So for let's keep going. So we had someone that said that if she's emasculating her man, yes. And once again, I don't think that this is a emasculating issue or a problem at all. I think that men see that as a threat, as a danger, when a woman is smart and intelligent and she knows how to lead. So once again, we have to know how to distinguish between certain different characteristics. And so you can't always say a woman is being a leader and that's why she can't get a man. If she's bossy, and that once again, then I equate that with emasculating. And so that way she might have difficulties finding a man. But like I said, my favorite, I just think women will follow when the man shows that he can lead successfully. And once again, that's not a woman that said that. That's a man that said that. And so kudos for standing up and saying something that I think was really, really profound. Women are willing to lead a man anywhere, in any situation, as long as he, can lead successfully, and that woman is willing to follow. So that's a big one. We have another comment. I don't think so. Why can't a man and woman lead together? Whoever knows the most about a situation should take the lead and be supported by the other. There are some roles that are not transferable, such as the man being the spiritual head of the family. And so once again, I believe in that. I believe it's a balance. It's a yin and a yang. So if there's something that she can do, that she, let her take the lead. If there's something he can do, let him take the lead. But it's not even that deep for me. Like I said, to me, the man should be the head of the household. That, and then we work from there. So, but I want to get to a comment that my frat brother made that I just pretty much feel like you can just kind of drop mic on. He said, I'll say this and I'll roll out. He said, if either side, men or women, are focused on independence, leadership, and not interdependence, leadership, deference, a combination and understanding, it's not going to work. And once again, I'll have to agree with him on that. If the two parties in this relationship are so focused on, well, I'm going to lead, well, no, I'm going to lead, then in that particular instance, the relationship's not going to work, because if the two of you are butting heads on who's going to take the lead role, then you're not even thinking about, like he said, it's it should be something that should be shared. It's something that should be, a balance about. And so if you're not thinking about understanding and balance and deference, then, and the both of you are just trying to do your own thing in a relationship, it's not going to work. So I totally agree with what he's saying with that one. So that was an interesting comment. So some of these are a little bit funny. My cousin, I love you to death, she said they're looking in the wrong place. Can't go shopping for Gucci at Ross. And I totally agree with that one. So Kudos to you, cuz, for that one. We had someone say false. Both parties in a relationship should have equal say. Now that's a big one, because not all men feel like that in relationships the man and the woman should have equal say. So that's interesting how, once again, a man is saying that a man and a woman should have equal say in the relationship. I agree with that. Once again, going back to there being a balance between the two. But not everybody believes wholeheartedly that a man and a woman should both have equal say in a relationship. But I think the most successful relationships that work long term are because they both have a say so in the relationship. So that's a big one. Another comment: there's nothing wrong with you both being leaders. There's a problem when you start competing with one another. Every team needs strong leaders. And I totally agree with that assessment. Not everyone, we don't need to compete. Once again, that's just like the other one said. When the two of you are both trying to do the same thing and nobody wants to defer to the other one, yeah, then there's going to be a problem. If nobody wants to give up their position, or if no one's willing to defer to the other one, then yeah, the two of you are just going to keep going at each other, trying to do the same thing, trying to do the same role, and it's not going to work. So once again, totally agree with that one. Here's one: they can't find a man, just can't keep a Mr. Right. And so that's interesting to me. So they can't find a man. He's saying they can find a man, they just can't keep Mr. Right. So if they can find a man, but they can't keep Mr. Right, why? So once again, like I said, sometimes we get answers, but there's no context. You have to explain a little bit more. Tell me why, that this woman can't keep a man. Why can she can find a man, but she can't keep him because she's trying to be the leader? I got questions. So, the biggest thing about it is make sure that, if you're going to jump on here and give some levity to the situation, or you're going to respond. For those of you that are coming on to Speak Your Soul, today's episode 15, we are literally talking about true or false. Do women, or because women are too busy trying to be leaders, they can't find a man? And so in that particular instance, I say, once again, false. I think that it has nothing to do with a woman being a leader. Typically, those women that have issues as far as keeping a relationship or the relationship lasting or finding somebody is because they're bossy. And those are two different things. Being a bossy, and being a leader are two different characteristics. So that's huge for me. So another one is, one could argue that some women have a leading nature because it's just who they are in terms of personality and qualities, or they are forced to lead because they've been single for so long, or a single parent mode in which they had no choice but to lead, and it's hard for them to flip the switch off. So that's an important one. That's a big one. For those people that have been single or single parents that are used to having to do pretty much all the lead work, take care of everything, take care of a child, or take care of themselves, and is used to just doing everything just consistently, go. It's hard for those people to be able to switch that off once they get into an actual relationship with someone else, and now you have to learn to defer to someone else. Yeah, it's difficult. That's something that you have to learn, because if you've been single for 5 years or 6 years, it's hard for you to be able to say, okay, now, I'm in a relationship. I can no longer think just me. I have to think about we. And so that takes some time to get adjusted to, or to come to grips with. But I don't think that's something that a reason for somebody to say, well, she can't find a man, or she can't keep a man because of this. It's just something simply that you have to work on, and you have to be willing to do the work. If I've been single, or you're a single parent and you've been so accustomed to doing your thing constantly over and over again, just every day taking care of someone, yeah, by the time you do get in a relationship, it's difficult. And I know I got single parents out there that are raising a kid, and yeah, sometimes they don't even want to entertain even being in a relationship at all, because they know that they're so used to being single-minded and being so go 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 go, and it's just about my child, that it's hard for them to switch that energy off. And now it's no longer just about the child, it's about this other person that's in my life. So once again, these are all things that you have to you have to work out. You have to think about someone else in this particular relationship as well. So that's a big comment. So there are some other ones here. I like this one. Women are leaders and have a measure of authority. Men have to respect that authority. In turn, men too have a measure of authority, responsibility, and accountability that goes with it. The problem starts when men go beyond their scope of authority and start to behave as though if they were God, the ultimate almighty. When men submit to Jehovah God's standard for men, the women would be more comfortable being with them. It all starts when men being accountable for their responsibilities in society. Women should never be with me who do not recognize that they are accountable to God for how she is treated and cared for. A man not truly subject to God's standards is unpredictable. And I totally get that. So once again, we're talking about, for those that are jumping in on live, we're talking about true or false. Women are too busy trying to be leaders. That's why they can't get a man or have a man. And so I totally believe that everyone in that, both parties in that relationship are accountable. They're both accountable for, what goes on in that relationship. And so if it's the man's job, if it's his job to lead, then that woman, and if he's leading successfully, that woman will follow. But if you have someone that's trying to jump outside of their scope, then it's going to make that relationship difficult. Once again, I just think that we're distinguishing the difference between a woman that's bossy versus a woman that's an actual leader. I would love to have a man to lead me. That's just my own personal preference. But am I a leader? Yes, I am. Do I have leadership roles? Has that been embedded in me? Yes, it has. So, but I know how to balance, and I wouldn't do anything without consulting with my significant other. So someone said nothing if the man won't be one. So once again, it all comes down to, men willing to be the leader in these relationships, so that women don't feel inclined to surpass them and try to be in a relationship, in where they're taking the leadership role, and then all of a sudden the man's going, hold on, wait, why are you now the leader and I'm in the background? So there's just so many different variables to this. But once again, the topic today is literally, leaders. If you have that embedded in you as a woman, don't go changing that for anyone. If you truly have a desire and that's truly embedded in you, don't go changing for anyone. Because I know, as strong of an individual I am, yes, I don't mind deferring. I don't mind sharing. I don't mind balancing. But I've been in too many relationships where all of a sudden everything was going fine. Then I went this way, and then they went this way. And then the relationship just went that way. So it happens. But, there's just something that you guys have to work on and communicate in a relationship with the two of you. That's something that you guys have to really establish from the beginning. But once again, these are conversations that we have on Speak Your Soul. Yes, they get in depth. Yes, there are lots of comments. Yes, there are going to be people that have or a difference in opinions and they don't always agree. But the beauty about when I put these polls out there, that we all come together and we all can speak intelligently and not diss anybody or not disrespect anyone for having a different opinion other than you. And so I encourage that consistently for anyone that has participated in any of my polls in the past or is going to participate in the future. Please keep in mind that anytime I put out a Speak Your Soul poll, whether it be something funny or whether it be something serious, a conversation, all I'm trying to do is make sure that there's a consistent dialogue going on between men and women, and that we're adults about it. We can be honest about it. We can have opinions. We can share our ideas. And at the end of the day, that's just how we feel. And so there's no reason for anybody to get upset or feathers getting ruffled or taking it too seriously. This is all entertainment. This is my podcast. This is Speak Your Soul. So like I said, I encourage all, but please make sure that we keep it respectful, that we keep it gangster, and that we make sure that we respect other people's opinions when it comes to these particular topics. This one was kind of a one that could go either way, but I'm glad that everybody just maintained and was very respectful of the topic and stayed on topic. So with that being said, of course, this is episode 15 of Speak Your Soul. You'll be able to stream this after this is over with on Anchor, Spotify. You'll be able to catch this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much everywhere that podcasts are streamed. You'll be able to catch this particular episode. This is a big milestone. Once again, we've gotten to episode 15. Once again, thank you to Crystal Lott for making this wonderful shirt, Speak Your Soul. If anybody's interested, Crystal will be available, and I'll put her information in the comments for you guys to check it out later. But also follow Speak Your Soul on Facebook. I'm also on IG, on Instagram, SY Soul Podcast. Also on Snapchat and on Twitter. For those of you that want to go back and check out, thank you. Little milestones, bit by bit. I'm hoping that once again, Speak Your Soul will not be only just on Facebook Live, that we can expand this out. We'll be on Twitch soon. We'll be able to stream live on YouTube and really be able to spread this podcast out a little bit further. Kudos to all the different people that have podcasts. I support each and every one of you for having your own ideas and your own voice, your own platform out there. We need more and more people to be able to just kind of get on here and just give a different variety in their own personalities, especially with everything that's going on in the world. Please understand, I haven't forgotten anything that's going on out there in the world, but I'm just trying to, for 1 hour out of the day, at least try to give you guys some entertaining content that you guys can create, that creates a dialogue for you guys to kind of take your mind off of everything that's going on. But like I said at the top of the hour, hey, check on your friends, make sure everybody's doing okay, make sure you're okay. I know a lot of stuff is going on right now, and it's easy for us to just kind of smile through it as though everything is going just fine. But it's okay to not be okay. And I want to re-emphasize that once again. It's okay to not be okay with everything that's going on in the world. The COVID numbers are going up. We're still out there fighting. Now voting is taking place. So once again, I'll end this episode of Speak Your Soul encouraging you guys once again to make sure that you get out there and vote. Change. We can't affect change if we don't get up and actually get out there and actually start making some things happen. So I encourage everyone to get out to the polls as your city starts to roll around. You're starting to see people in Kentucky kind of banging, fighting for the ability to get in there and to cast their vote. So it does make a difference. So much has happened. And I want to say, thank you. There's so much has happened so far, but we still have so much more to go. So thank everyone for tuning in to episode 15 of Speak Your Soul. And there's going to be a lot more to come. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end today's episode. And as we always say, don't forget to speak your soul. All right, you guys take care. Till next week.